there like that for a while, and it was rough, dude. That was just that was December and January in New England was rough for me. I was very anxious.
When is it ever nice though? This is a miserable time of year. It really is. Like anywhere,
yeah,
in the northern part of our country is just brutal. Unless you're skiing it.
I mean, in Idaho, man, I didn't mind it in Idaho, dude. It was like, it wasn't bad. We'd go up and ski. We had the kids. We had the cabin up there, and we had the infrastructure for snow. Like, you know, we had some 4-wheelers and the shovels and a snowblower, and I had buddies with snowmobiles. It was like, there was stuff to do. It was fun. You know, like you got to have the infrastructure set up for it to enjoy it. Right?
Yeah. It's a weird thing because
the mountain sun helps too.
You must be using your laptop mic or speaker or something, Jont. I mean, it's okay, but it sounds like you're in like 3 rooms over.
Yeah.
Whereas like Amin is like super clear.
Mm-hmm. So it's just me in general. But yeah, I am on my laptop. Let me see if I can flip the audio. Oh, by the way, we are recording.
That's all right. I don't care. Half of these are for me to look back when I'm 80 and like laugh about what I was doing back then. Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
It never goes away, right? You know, once it's recorded and posted out there, it never goes away.
In perpetuity. You'll have someone call and reference it like next or something. You're like, dude, remember when you said, you're like, what are you? I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no clue.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. This is a little better.
Oh, way better.
There you go. 10 times better.
Little more better. Little more better.
I'll take more better. So the one thing I was checking out before we jumped on was live, you know, like doing a live stream next time for YouTube Studio.
At next?
Yeah, no. Well, that would be awesome, but I won't be. But we'll sort of do a live stream. That's one of the things we talked about doing this year. So
a live stream like this. Gotcha. I still think it would be fun to do like around a table too, right?
Yeah. I mean, we built up the follower list to like 9
I guess your job doesn't bring you to Google Next anymore, does it?
No, maybe in the Microsoft suite. I mean, unless there's a good reason that I can come up with very quickly.
It's Vegas. You know,
it is. I don't know if that's a good reason to go. Although that event last year was pretty cool. The you know, when you go and you know, did you guys do the Tuesday evening event where you went over to the Sphere and they did the Wizard of Oz preview?
Oh, I did not.
I didn't do the event. I remember hearing about it. I didn't do the event. No, was Next where we all were though, and we went. We almost met up, but we didn't. And we went to that crazy. Remember, Jont, you and I were up high at that really crazy suite.
Yeah. Down at the end of
yes.
Yeah.
Like was that the one where I was like, hey, come on up? And then like I was there, but they ran out of space or something like that.
Yeah, so we couldn't get up. We're like, well, we're not one of the cool kids. We're not on the invite list.
Hey, I barely got in. They were like, dude.
Right. Yeah.
You know, take the standard and put it right there.
Yeah.
Well, the whole like pretend like you deserve to be there emotion. Like, yeah, we got this. No, we're just running upstairs real quick and almost made it until there's like, excuse me. But either way, I will not be out there. But
cool.
Well, good. So what's happening in the world of cloud go to market?
Everything.
I saw some things that are new, which I'm excited to talk about. Just some different listing types and this, that, and the other. But what's new for you guys?
Stinker, you go first, man. You go first. Yeah.
Oh, you want me to go first?
You go first. You go first.
Well, we are still in Q1 of like integration, and so there is a little bit of app direct mixture as we're trying to get things sorted out. So, but that is pretty good. We're actually kicking off our customer advisory board for 2026 today, which is cool. We're kind of getting that, doing some fun stuff, but yeah, this is the year, I think, of incremental, like different, like, you know, without saying actual numbers, like AWS has to add massive amounts based on the goals that have been set. I mean, tens of billions of dollars, right? They need incremental growth over last year. You can't do that by just telling CrowdStrike to sell more and telling Salesforce to sell more. I mean, these companies are only growing 5 or 10% a year. So I do think there's going to be a lot of like, it's like, okay, how do we take small companies that are just kind of doing meh and make them $100 million company? Do 10 of those, you get $1 billion. How do you create like a market that isn't actually selling stuff through marketplace and have them sell it, like consulting companies and SIs? Like billions of dollars of that stuff happens, but none of it goes through marketplace, right? You know, now they got multi-party solutions and this stuff should consider it, you know, or like, how do you, you know, leverage in on the new like consumption-based AI models, PLG models are kind of one and the same. Clearly, that's a big thing. Like, how do you start to charge it? So I think it's going to be the year of like, okay, I don't want to say the SaaS is dead because SaaS is still killing it and crushing it, but like it's going to be the year of experimenting for some of these ISVs into like, or CSPs, I guess I'd maybe say, into some of these other industries, vertical areas, tangential to SaaS, like consulting companies or AI first built companies, things like that around PLG and stuff. That's what I don't know. That's my like high level February 11th prediction, right? But
yeah, like February 12th.
What do you see?
February 12th is going to be fundamentally different. I know it. You're like scratch 80% of that. AI originated companies is like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I plus one everything. Yeah, Brian said. I think what I'm seeing from like on the business side of things, and I don't know. I haven't been able to put it together yet. But what I'm seeing is this push for AWS to push a lot of his partners, ISV partners, to be like 100% built on AWS.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that dovetails really nicely. I think everything that you said. I don't think that works out very well for the customer on the other side of it. Or I mean, because like at the end of the day, it's really super interesting because a lot of your ISVs are like both customers and sellers. Like that relationship is bifurcated, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you say, all right, cool, like everything has to be on AWS, I'm like, yeah, I understand from an AWS standpoint, but not all workloads are optimized for AWS infrastructure, you know. Depending on the use
they're
case,
starting to say literally everything. You're right. I mean, they want 100%, not even 99%,
right?
Like 100%, which is like, come on, man. Right.
And that just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And then when you start looking at like the agent space, you look at agents across multiple hypervisors, right? It's like that demonstrates the fact that you have clouds that are optimized for particular workloads and the technologies are in different places. I think Google has a really interesting play because of like Gemini Enterprise layering on top and basically exposing the elements of AWS or SAP or Salesforce or Google or Microsoft back to the end user in one really, really nice, slick productivity.
Say a little more. I didn't quite follow that. That's super interesting. I haven't heard of that as much. Say that again, or just explain that a little further.
So with Gemini Enterprise, I think it's interesting because everything ties into the marketplace for how you procure, right?
Okay.
Right.
This is cool.
But I think what's interesting though is that if you agree that not every workload should be designated for AWS, and you have your workloads split across multiple, let's say, hypervisors or infrastructure, and you're looking at different applications like SAP, you're looking at, Salesforce, you have some data and what have you in AWS or Google infrastructure and Microsoft. At the end of the day, what happens is you have all these agents running across all of that. Right?
Okay.
Orchestrating bubbling up information and orchestrating all of that communication, right? And I think where Google and Gemini Enterprise get really, really interesting is Gemini Enterprise layering on top of all of that back to the end user, coming back to the end user themselves about managing their day and their information and being able to pull all that information, leveraging all of the agents that are running across those different infrastructures to make better insights, better analyses, higher productivity, higher efficiency. I think that's where it's at. So if you start thinking about, okay, well, how do I procure that, or what am I procuring? I can understand AWS's play about wanting everyone to be as locked in on AWS as humanly possible. But at the end of the day, that's not going to work for of enterprises, as they start to figure out and grow and get really, really savvy with their agents and with AI. It's just not going to happen.
Interesting. So that is pretty interesting. Like, where are these agents built? Yeah, because AWS has made like they made kind of a hard, if you even have a call out to OpenAI, like there could be issues, right? Like, they may want you to pull that out and instead use Bedrock, whatever, right? And and it's like, you're right. You're building these products now. If I'm replaying back, because that was really interesting. You're running all these different agents. All these agents could be running on all kinds of different things, right? And a product now is starting to pull together lots of agents, right, for an outcome, right? And you want to buy that outcome, and it might come across. That's interesting.
Is that like a future state, or is that what you're seeing today in that agent to agent framework? And I have a follow-up question, but a
little bit of both. I mean, I think in terms of like what's available today, I don't think no one's really doing full on that, right? But to be honest with you, I see that in the next 18 months. Easy.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the differentiator.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, obviously this is the fishbowl I'm swimming in these days. Is this agent to agent and agents and activation? Yeah, I don't see that at scale from an enterprise perspective yet, but I definitely think that is what everybody's talking about. And really, how do you have this agent to agent orchestration where you have one, central, agent that is really just directing traffic to each of these other,
you mean in your product? You mean in your product?
Yeah, in the product, activating and building a plan that then tasks these other agents. So I do see this, and these are what the hyperscalers are talking about. In fact, even I was on a call with Gartner just last week, and the topic was more centered around the persona of a citizen developer and what that community looks like and best practices. And candidly, there's really nothing new there. They literally dusted off some RPA stuff. One of the guy's slides was from 2016. It's like Gartner 2016 RPA, right? Just like sprinkle some AI pixie dust on it, but still was good. And the fact that they have a team of analysts focused on this space in the context of citizen developer persona for AI, it just shows that, like, yes, this is something that the enterprise sees. And I think ISVs are doing that from embedding within the products. But its ability to work at scale is still something that I've not yet seen. So I don't know. I think it's really interesting. And just to anchor on your comment, I guess both of your comments on AWS cracking down. I mean, we know that they've all been cracking down for years, right? It's just to figure out how to balance, the desire that each of the hyperscalers have to have as much of the wallet from a product perspective as possible. Everybody's been wanting it.
Products get intertwined with the cloud, they get really sticky, right? And they, when you start buying stuff on Marketplace, that's all built into the commit that you have, and it's all in those. I mean, all that stuff becomes super sticky. But to Amin's point, like, the customer loses there, which is kind of a bummer. The customer may have, rarely do enterprises have one cloud. They have multiple clouds, and like it's a Visa, MasterCard, Discover thing, right? Like, you may use your Visa most of the time, but there are times when you want to use a different commerce engine, right? You have better travel benefits, you this, whatever. It's like, oh, I'd love to use Azure to do this, or it's a bummer as an ISV that you now cannot. It's becoming harder and harder to list on all three, unless you drive consumption. It's probably the biggest, like, database companies, the Mongos, Snowflakes. If you can choose where to drive your consumption, but even then, they're still kind of like, well, where's your SaaS layer? Where's your control plane? Is that native OS? Well, no, it's not supposed to be native OS. Very interesting.
Is this where the channel comes in and works to maybe bundle certain packages together in a different way?
Channel's interesting.
Channel's really interesting right now.
Channel is super interesting. I mean, it almost, like, when you think of channel, I think it's almost like let's make it really specific, right? You say channel, and let's get specific with like VARs, right?
Yeah.
If
It's
you look at
VARs.
if you look at VARs and look at the channel play or the channel play through VARs, whichever one, doesn't necessarily matter which way you say it, right? That play, depending on if you are how you are embedded with and who you're tight with, whether it be like let's say AWS and Google, that play is going to be a lot different, you know, in the sense of with Google, depending on where you sit with Google, they're going to be kind to you with respect to professional services. But I think when you look at an AWS that is exceptionally mature, AWS is in a different spot because I think AWS is looking at its market share from a defensive posture opposed to trying to extend. I think Google and Microsoft are being more offensive and looking at leveraging their channel. I'm not saying they're doing a very good job at it, but leveraging their channel, their VARs to deeper embed customers into their infrastructure and into what they see as the future.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, Microsoft? I do think I see that a little bit with Google. Microsoft is really tricky. Microsoft's partner channel stuff is tough. Like Microsoft, I don't know. Like Microsoft is really good at dealing with the partners that resell, but they're not like the marketplace channel stuff. And Microsoft is hard.
They're squeezing. They're squeezing. Microsoft is squeezing, and you can see that with their E3, E5 licensing. Like they're squeezing, and they're playing a margin game. Where I think Google is playing more. I think it's interesting. I think Microsoft is playing more of a margin game and optimizing for margin and operational proficiency, things like that. Nothing new. Yeah. But I think Google is looking at the world of extending through the technology, and then that pendulum's going to come back into optimizing those margins. I still think they're trying to figure that out. AWS, I think, strangely, well, maybe not, is being reactive to the signals that they think that they are seeing. So I think it's in a different spot. Go ahead.
So no, they're managing and optimizing around noise. It's the signals I think they're seeing.
Yeah. That's my take on it.
I think Microsoft is just interesting with the number with the exodus of a lot of key players on the marketplace, team, broadly speaking, at Microsoft, and moved on either by Microsoft's decision or by their own decision.
Interesting though, they have two new AWS people. I don't know if you know that, Jont, but so they hired Mira. So Mira Mira reports directly to Nicole, and Mira is, call it kind of like the GM of marketplace of sorts. And then they have Kevin LeBlanc, also ex AWS. Kevin LeBlanc is in charge of all marketing because they kind of do it in both ways, right? And then Jake Z moved on to go to Workday, who was in charge of engineering. He was like the Matt Y, and they replaced him with this guy Michael Clark. So if you remember that name. So that's kind of the trio now, but two of those three are like recent AWS people. It'll be really interesting to see what happens there, right?
Yeah, it is interesting. I also think you remember Cornwall. I don't know if do you know Jeff Cornwall? I mean, I know Denker. You remember him.
I remember the name for sure.
He was one of the category managers going, for forever there at Microsoft, but he left recently, and now he's over at it's not Software One.
Is it a disty or a reseller?
Yeah. No, he's at a reseller. So it's an interesting role that he took because he kind of jumped out of that direct marketplace space into a different type of role, which I thought was interesting. But I haven't talked to him recently. But there's a lot of movement. At
the end of the day, AWS still sets the gravity for marketplace. They are out building everybody. Google is still running second place for sure. A little clunky, and they lost, Steve Orban and some of that stuff. But AWS is still setting the gravity for all that stuff for sure. The fact that they have the external commerce engine you can plug in other places. They're trying to reboot distributor, DSOR stuff. They're doing the big hard problems that the other people are still trying to do, private offer APIs. That shit's been around for years, right?
Right.
Come on. like we have that. So,
Dude,
I mean, like
preaching to the
Google still
choir.
doesn't have an automated co-cell. Like they don't even have they do not have a way to plug into their co-cell and make it efficient. It's super duper sloppy.
Yeah.
Same with Microsoft. It's super sloppy. Unless they're managed, it just goes into the ether, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so funny, dude. You're preaching to the choir. Like every time I think about, and I think that goes back to what I was saying earlier with VARs and channel and whatnot, is that, you know, your equivalent of CPPOs for Google is so, like, partners don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. Like, they kind of have to do it in certain cases, but they get really picky about deal size because A, like you got like is the margin issue, but also B, just the pure just operational complexity between the two.
Yeah.
And it's funny, it's like it's almost like if you have done I think it's MCPOs, I think that's it, right? Maybe with Google.
MCPO, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you do this with Google, I've done them with both, right? And with Google and AWS. I almost wish that I had started with Google so that I was fundamentally ignorant for how efficient AWS does their CPPOs. Yeah,
Right.
That's funny.
because I'm taking everything I've learned, you know, from AWS, and I'm like, what do you mean I can't do that? And then Deal Desk is asking me like, hey, can we do it? Like, no, I don't know. I don't think we can. And then there's it's let's figure this out. It's, you know.
And then it's manual. Well, send that in and they'll approve it manually. We'll see. And, you know, the channel. And then you get like SATA in the middle. And you're like, but I'm selling this deal direct. But now it's forced to go through SATA. I didn't want it to go through SATA. Oh, but SATA owns the commit.
And is the customer going to see the invoice and see my pricing? And I don't want to see that, but that's part of the deal. You know, it's all of this very clunky stuff that AWS figured out like 10 years ago.
Literally like 2018 or something, right?
Literally, not even figuratively. Yes, 100%. A decade ago, AWS figured this out and makes it so easy and so nice. So now when you have been indoctrinated into that thinking and operating, you know, then you go over to the other side and you're like, what do you mean? What do you mean there's no
be there? Yeah.
Yeah.
The big release for Microsoft in the fall was flexible payments. I'm like, oh my God, now you can make a private offer and do it more than just paid up front once. Like that has been around forever. Like, I mean, how do you expect it's just these fundamental things, you know, that that is where I just go back. Like AWS sets the gravity on this stuff for sure.
I think one thing I want to say about that, which I think is just still super funny, is that before I knew what it was like outside of that machine, like AWS had like 14 different portals for everything. And I remember complaining so much about, I don't understand why there have to be 14 different portals. I got to sign in over here. These portals should just talk. How hard could that be? Da, 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 da. I didn't realize in a way, and a lot of stuff's been solved, but I didn't realize in a way how good I still had it over there, comparatively speaking, to the lack of functionality with other marketplaces. I was like, oh, I'll take 14 portals all day if I can have a streamlined CPPO order come through.
Right,
you know?
right.
It shows the complexity of the underlying systems, you know, and this is how it just feels cobbled together, which really it was over time. I mean, even Microsoft today is running on, I mean, the commercial engine backing that is Xbox, you know, cash register. It's, you know, things have just been cobbled together. But I'm thinking back to the early days of Tackle when we were creating the journey with Microsoft, and it was kind of similar. It's like they're poking over the fence at what AWS has done, and just the decisions to deploy certain features over other features just shows the complexity of the motion, if not from a systems perspective, from a legal perspective. You know, I mean, just trying to get taxes sorted out in a global marketplace across every region. I mean, it's non-trivial.
Yeah.
But
yeah, Microsoft's version of CPPO is called MPO, like multi-private offer or something like that. It's called MPO, and it only works in the UK, United States, and Canada. I'm like, see, I mean, which is okay, but I'm like, the partners thing is like more global than it is North America. Like you need that stuff globally, right? I mean, it's like, here's Microsoft only releasing it, and they're like, oh, why is our channel stuff so low? I'm like, well, you're not even in the rest of the world, like Latin America. It's all channel. It's like 100% channel. Latin America, you know, like Asia, APJ, 100% partner, you know. Oh, but we can't actually do it there. We can only do it US and Canada and UK.
And they start layering in currencies and whatnot, and it just gets really. And it's where do you place your bets if you're that organization? Like, where do you place your bets? Are you out forward looking, or are you still in this really weird mode of trying to still build a reasonable, solid foundation?
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
to transact business. It's nuts.
If I can shift over, another question I had for you guys is how's the motion with business applications going across each of the hyperscalers? You know, when like is Salesforce selling through through Google and AWS, Workday, you know, these big massive enterprise business apps, are they actually being sold through, being bundled up and sold through marketplaces that you're seeing?
I would say so generically, I would say no. We are not seeing a lot of biz apps moving. Industries and biz apps have been hard, and I don't think we've seen a lot of success there. There are like roses in the thorns, like Salesforce, who are crushing it, and there are some big accounts, but it's still, it's not a common motion for that to happen yet, right? I do think there's more to be done there, but it's really hard to get these companies to think about going to. I mean, some of them are even so competitive of sorts, you know, like they have a lot of competitive stuff, and where do I lean, right? Yeah, we've struggled there, and we've had a lot of opportunities, and we've struggled to see some of that stuff, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's a different business. It's just different buyer as well, right? You know, like this topic has come up in one ecosystem, Roman's ecosystem that I'm still party to, and it comes up all the time. And the challenge is, you know, when you go with the traditional
what's the challenge that comes up from an ISV standpoint, or from an
ISV standpoint that is selling to a business persona? So it's more of a business application than it is a cloud application. Than cloud infrastructure, whether it's data security, you know, the traditional stuff. It's the narrative of, well, who's your biggest cloud? You know, business owners like, I don't know, what's a commit, right? And so it just changes a lot of the more traditional, I guess, motion that we've always guided ISVs to share during their during their prospecting. So that's kind of why I asked, because it's a different story if you're selling a business app through marketplace than it is obviously the tradition.
I mean, I think it's the same thing I was saying a little bit of, like, it's just going to be, I do think the clouds are trying to reach into other personas for sure. How do they get the channel? Like, to unlock more business, they got to get into channel. They got to get into consulting companies. They got to get into AI. Like, they have to get into those markets. But I mean, they've been chasing the verticalized biz app market for years.
Yeah.
Without a ton of success, honestly, right? You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Like buyers still need to come to market and say, I want this, and I want it through marketplace. And I don't know if the buyer ecosystem is knowledgeable enough yet to demand it. And so it's just kind of those ISVs putting together some small effort to push it. And that's never, much rather have a pull effect from the customers than a push into.
Yeah, I am really excited. We are pretty excited about AWS at reInvent released the multi-product offers, which was composable solutions, which was bundling, whatever. That is going to be really interesting, because that does allow you to put services plus multi-products on one private offer, kind of leveraging a CPPO kind of concept. So if you're a channel partner, you get authorized from multiple ISVs, right? And you can put it all together, and then you add your services on top. And then because it's like a CPPO thing, some is badged to burn down, some is not. They might have different rates, whatever. But at the end of the day, you have one private offer. At that point, you are selling an outcome. Like, I do think that's going to be interesting to see if it works. Like, it's like just starting to get out there. I am wondering, we got a lot of ISVs really interested, but the end of the day, the consulting companies and channel partners have to use it, not the ISVs.
They have to
the
own
ISVs
it.
are just along for the ride. You know,
they have to own it. They have to own it, and they have to, and it's the go-to-market that's associated with that too. You know, which I think is key. You know, because that messaging, to your point, that messaging is not, while it is, I think, understood by the ISVs, or the partner ISVs in that scenario, right? Because they're three-legged stools like a triangle, right? While it's understood, that go-to-market and that positioning, it can be fed by the ISVs, but ultimately that go-to-market has to be owned by the channel or owned by the VAR. And I don't know if VARs have the expertise.
I was going to say they're not enabled at all, dude. You're nailing it. You're totally right. They're very immature in cloud go-to-market, right?
Right.
But like this is, I was just going to say, this is what it's always made sense to me, having had a small services practice, and you experienced this, Tinker. I know back in the day, it's like, you know, like Jay McBain has always said, there's 9 trusted partners that any executive has in an enterprise account, you know, give or take, right? And so if you're one of those 9 trusted partners, and you know what that leadership team is looking for to achieve their goals, and you can go into the marketplace and bundle together a solution with multiple ISVs that check the boxes for that enterprise customer, and you can wrap your own services around that. To me, that is the best of both worlds and a good use case for marketplace, because you can deliver what the customer is looking for through that one responsible party, which is that channel partner. It's just a matter of that channel partner understanding the mechanics to actually do this effectively, and that's where it seems like it's early days.
The cloud's been asking Tackle to create like enablement for channel partners for years, and it's never been easy, and we've never had the problem is the channel partners aren't asking us for it per se. It's like the clouds want more enabled CPs, and the CPs themselves are not like is asking for it as much, you know.
That means the enterprise customers aren't asking for it, right? If they were, then they'd be.
Or they just, I don't know if they.
Well, I think they are. I think there's a separation there, though. I think the enterprise customers are asking for, they're asking for a joint solution, but they are, I think, ignorant to understand the benefits of procuring that multi-party solution through a channel partner. And a channel partner is like, just forget the channel partner. Let's say the VAR executive is not going to paint themselves into a corner that they can't sell their way out of. They don't know enough about how to assemble that offer to be consumed within the marketplace. And then on top of that too, if you're an enterprise seller and you haven't done this before, and you are seasoned, it's highly likely that when you start looking at this, you're probably looking at it through multiple line items. And if you're looking at it through multiple line items, what you're probably thinking is, I don't want to get into a multiple line item negotiation because this deal is complex enough as is. So if I remove the complexity of just the marketplace and procurement, unless the customer is explicitly asking for me to procure a multi-party deal, I have a whole bunch of other complexity that I know how to manage. I know where to go. I know how to procure it. It's fairly easy enough there, and it's a known. I'm not dealing with this because I don't have to deal with it.
It's true. If you're an enterprise seller and you sniff anything that slows down a deal or anything that looks like friction, you're out. You're like, I mean, deals are hard enough to get these days. Like, you're not doing it for the hell of it, right? Like, unless the end customer is like, I can only buy this through marketplace. Now you're going to slog your way through the process to kind of figure it out. Right. But you're generally not leading with it, right? Unless you're really mature.
And on top of that too, and to your point, you wouldn't lead with it because then that starts, like, you're not going to lead the conversation with like a procurement and a TCO conversation. You're going to lead the conversation with an outcome. And then this conversation, if you're a true enterprise seller, that's like a 15-month sales cycle. It's a 19-month sales cycle deal. To your point, like, I'm not going to introduce anything that, even to your point, smells, sounds, or even alludes to any level of
slow down, friction, anything.
Nothing. It doesn't exist. Like, I'm talking my way away from that.
Yeah. Is that true? Does that hold true if you have an enlightened leadership team, specifically like the owner of the number of that same company, who's like, look at this, the risk that's perceived is not real because I've seen it. Your leader got to figure it out.
Your leader has to have enough experience to know like, hey, when I was at company XYZ, we did millions and millions, hundreds of millions through AWS Marketplace. And this is how we did it. And this is how it worked. We co-sold deals. We leveraged it. We sponsored stuff. Like our reps got to know the AWS rep, like, but it's got to be like a full commitment thing, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be a playbook that is not a playbook of thought process. It is a playbook of is baking. You're not cooking, you are baking. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and then on top of that too. And remember, like if you look at it now, right, and then you look back at all the risks that have taken place, like just at AWS alone, you don't have the same coverage model that you had before with PDMs and PSMs and whatnot, right? So now, like, if you're thinking about, like, all right, cool, I'm gonna do this transformative thing, and I know that I'm gonna need air cover inside of a Google, inside of an AWS, so it's AWS, right, by itself, and a number of the folks that I used to deal with have moved to other parts of the organization. Like, it comes down to, do I need this to make my number? All right. Like, do I need this?
That is, I know it's true. And you're totally right. I mean, like the only companies that do it well have a friggin' totally dialed playbook. They are not experimenting with the cake. They are baking the cake that they've baked before. Right.
Yep. Right measurements, right sequence, that's it. And
it's not a lot out there, a small percentage.
And there's not enough time. There's so much competition that I can experiment with technology. I'm not experimenting with procurement. I need to get this deal over the line at this time. Full stop.
Yeah. So what looking at the number, we're like 30 minutes plus, which is kind of the time frame. I mean, I've got a question to wrap this up. I know. And I even cut short I didn't mean to cut short intentionally our jibber jabber part, because that sometimes is the funniest part. But I
know that's always fun. I just like hearing what people are up to. We haven't talked in like 6 weeks, so it's like, what are you doing? I know Amin's not dirt biking anymore because he's got a foot of snow, right?
Dude, matter of fact, I literally, and as getting back to our jibber jabber piece, so I had to I got more wood and brought it to my house because I use a lot of wood stove.
For fire and whatever.
I had it delivered on a pallet.
Chopping down trees. I can.
Me, Paul Bunyan with my flannel, right? So I ended up getting a pallet of wood, like delivered to my house, right? And the biggest thing, I went back and forth, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it, and I'm like, because the dirt bikes are going to have to go further back into the garage, and I'm like, but what if I want to sneak these bad boys out?
I want to get out.
I got this thing of wood. I'm like, I got to burn all this wood today.
Can I put one in front and one in back?
Yeah, how do I get this? I don't know. And like the guy who brought it in, he's thinking this is going to be like a one and done. Just bring it, dump it. I'm like, hang on 1 second. We moved that thing back and forth for at least 10 minutes as I'm like moving. I'm like, I have enough room. Thank you.
I think I can do it. I can do it. Nice. So that does mean you didn't buy the third bike that you were really close to, though. Are you still sniffing at it?
Oh, dude, it was one weekend. I went to 3 motorcycle shops. Yeah. I was sitting on a BMW GS, and the guy comes over. It was a pretty good price, actually. The guy comes over and he's like, "Hey," he's like, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, "I appreciate your attention. I need for you to walk away because I can't buy anything. So thank you, sir. Get away from me right now."
I cannot buy this right now because I'm almost there. You're like, I'm almost there.
It's like I'm sitting on it. I'm like, this feels pretty good. I'm like, get off it. Get off the bike. Get off of the
bike. What was it? Was it the new 800 or the 650 or whatever?
It was this one. I looked at that, but when I had the conversation, I was sitting on like one of those. I think it was GS 1200.
Like the full size, the big one.
Really?
Oh, that's a legit bike, dude. Yeah.
And I was sitting there. I purposely went by myself. I didn't bring anyone with me. Unfortunately, I still had my wallet in my pocket, and I was like, "This thing is burning a hole. I need to leave."
So I had a 2001 I had in the late 2000s. I had a 2001 GS, and at that point, it was an 1100.
Yeah.
And I wiped out hard. I mean, that's how I have scars over here, and I like screwed up my bone. Yeah. I wiped out hard on it, but I bought another BMW instead. I just bought more of the road.
You were like, I'll just get this instead. Were you in the woods or were you on the road?
I was in Idaho cruising along like a regular road. I was coming home. So the GS has a really high center of gravity.
Yeah.
And so my earlier bike was a Vulcan 800, Kawasaki Vulcan 800. Low Harley style, real low center of gravity. You would just like rip it through turns. I went to the GS. I'm like, oh, this GS is cool as hell. I can drive in dirt, but it's big and it's high. It's got this huge tank way up high. Yeah. And but it's fast, dude. It's fast, like fast shaft drive. And I just was ripping it up a road. And I didn't get like all of that leaned into the corner, and I went through the corner. And I couldn't get it over, and you're doing 60 and you're like, shit. I kind of went through the corner and boom, hit like the whatever's right after, the little edge of the road where it's gonna go down where the water runs. Boom, hit that, bang, bang, went up. I bailed, which is what you're supposed to do, right? I'm like, get away from the bike. Thing. I bailed. What do? I bounce off a barbed wire fence because my left. So you can't quite see, but I mean, I have scars all along here. Like luckily the fence hit right here and right down here. And I bent and rolled, right? And I mean, when I went to the doctor in the morning, he's like, you were 3 inches from like soft tissue of like, whoop. And thank God I hit it right here. Okay,
so what happened to the bike? It was totaled. And
so interestingly enough, I was super freaked out, and I was in kind of like semi-shock, like, oh my God. Yeah. The bike had fallen over. So if you know the BMW, it's an opposed boxer twin, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's got kind of like the oil plate in front. Yeah. Well, however it hit or whatever, the shocks had bent back and some rock or something. The oil plate in front, like right kind of behind the front fender, that had cracked, and there was like a golf ball size hole. And I learned this after the fact, all of the oil was basically just, it was on its side, and all the oil was just like flowing out of the bike. Yeah. Believe it or not, I stood the thing up. I was only a couple miles from home, like 3-4 miles from home. Because Idaho is it, and I started it up, and because I just was like not ready to dial 911. I started it up, and I drove the thing home and put it in the garage. And then, like,
pretend it never happened.
Process the entire situation, and then went to that. And like, I was like, kudos to BMW. That thing ran like with no oil for like 20 minutes, right? And
you are an animal. You're an animal. Like, I can imagine cars like seeing you, this guy getting his bike out of this thing, because like in your head, I know what you mean. And I know we're way off topic, but I know what you mean by in your head, when you blow up, your brain goes into this homing beacon mode.
Yes, like,
and you're just like, I gotta get home. I just gotta get home. If I get home, I will regenerate. I'll deal with sleep. I'll be fine. Yeah. But I can't stay here because I will die. I don't know. And then no matter what, like you're all hunched over and and you're like,
it was like dusk, so it was like 6-7 p.m. when I did it. And it was actually on my way home. So I wasn't that far. So I was hauling ass on my way home. So I was like, get home, pass out on the couch for like 40 minutes, like let shock flow through and the adrenaline. And then, okay, I should probably go to the doctor.
And then you're all like, because you're all,
Kristen wasn't home, right? And which is why I was probably being an ass, driving too fast because Kristen wasn't home and I was flying around, it was.
I can do what I want. You're not the boss of me.
Yeah, and then I'm like, totally.
Oh my!
So I ended up buying another opposed. So I ended up buying a same motor, the 1150 RSL, which is like their sport tour, and I love it, dude. It's got a super low center of gravity. It's not a crotch rocket, right? But it's a little more upright, little stretch, but it's a lower center of gravity, super same thing, fast and quick, but it's so much easier to handle than the GS.
Last question. John, I know you want. I know you want us to stop talking. But I have one more question. One more question.
No, I'm just. Look, we can go for as long as but
We'll wrap it up soon. But these are the fun stories at the end, right?
The stories at Tanker shows never cease to amaze. It's always like.
So then I died, but then I came back.
Yeah, then I died.
And it was fantastic. It was awesome. And then I tackle. I was looking at the Honda Hornet. It's like I think it's like a 1000cc bike.
Oh,
it's like I was sitting on that and I was like, this bike is so comfortable. And there's not a lot of junk in front of it. Like the BMW, I love it, but there's
a lot going on.
There's everything. Yeah. There's like screens and more screens for your other screens and fairings and buttons and knobs and things. And I just like naked bikes that are simple and that it's just the bike.
Yeah.
And I love one of the things on the Hornet, like the seating position has a great center of gravity as far as I can tell on it. I like the fact that it has a very simple dash, similar to like my 450, my RL. It's the funniest thing because I got my buddy on my 300 and I'm on the 450 and he gets on the 450 and he's like, dude, literally this is from like ancient ages. All you have is a speedometer. I'm like, I know. There's no tachometer. There's no fuel gauge.
Oh yeah, it's like this is so nice and simple.
That's all I want.
Right?
That's all I want. Yeah, like that's what I need. I don't want all this other whiz-bangy type stuff.
Yeah, those naked bikes and those kind of things are cool. They are very fun. I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a sucker for. I mean, yeah. I mean, I got 3 of them, right? You know,
we gotta get yanked. We're done.
I know exactly. And on that comment, keep it simple. This is a good place to wrap up our cloud go to market because as we talked about before we got into the story of motorcycles, which I have no skin in the game there, we talked about the simple parts of cloud go to market. No, dude, this is always. I love the chatter. Maybe I'll extend by 1 second, Denker. When you joined, because I was commenting on Amin's hat. This place is awesome in Park City. Shabu.
Oh, nice.
It's 2 brothers that I went to high school with Ellen, and but anyways, it's super cool, as they call it, freestyle Asian cuisine, right in town, lower level. Put it on your list next time you're through Park City.
Is it near Sundance, or is it on the old part of town, or is it in like?
It's in the old part of town. Yeah, it's on Main Street.
On the main street right up there. Yeah. It's a lower level. It's like one of those things you gotta, if you know, sort of thing. But it's definitely worth a look.
You got to be cool. I'll get in.
Well, guys,
I don't know if you two will get in.
This is awesome. Yeah, this just shows how much fun this is. So let's do this. Let's we got the calendar set up. Maybe we'll think about the live stream. Maybe I'll think about if you guys are going to be, definitely for Google Next. Let's see if we can
Google Next.
Get you guys in the room.
Kind of fun,
yeah.
Right? That would be a hoot for our 9 subscribers or whoever that listen on our stuff, right? I don't
exactly. Right. I'm going to shut it down on the recording and talk to you guys next time. Anyone's
awesome.
See you
All
guys.
right. See you guys. Have a good one.